Hey there, Beaver, and welcome to the Beaver Show. Today I'm joined by Mike Azariah and Dame du Nord to talk about the CSM 18. Later on, we'll be joined by the CEO of Just a Boot.
EVE Online. Lost 23,000 years in the future, our group of space Canadians are sorry in advance. Morning breaks, and the beavers poke their noses out of the dam to see where it has drifted overnight. Which makes every day a new adventure because they never know what they're going to stumble upon. To help them better understand this dark and gloomy world located outside of the dam, Daddy and Mommy Beaver, also called Ben and Dam, explain life to young beavers outside of their dam. So we welcome you, young beaver, to the Beaver Show.
Glad to be on. Hey, anytime the running joke I have is it's easy to get me to talk about Eve. It's hard to get me to shut up.
Perfect. I like it.
Well, yeah, I started in 2008 and been playing steadily, not taking any breaks other than, times away from the computer. If I take a break from the computer, I take a break from the game. But other than that, I've been fairly steady and following like CSM politics from CSM 2 all the way to now. So I've been a very big fan of the political aspect of the game over the years. The running joke is I play the game wrong. Well, more I play the game by my own rules, so I don't feel obligated to do what a lot of other players do. I have lived in a wormhole for 6 months, C4, and did cap escalations, and I did it with the group. They yelled at me because I was so young at the time. I was only in a battle cruiser and yet managed to survive the bloody things, and they'd be paying me 5 times the value of my ship for the take of a single run, and they're going, I don't know why you're not dead, but here's your risk. I did industry out of a pause and sold stuff in Jita. So I was a market and industry guy for a while, but I found that this will be a joke when I get to something later. I found it too mechanical and repetitive. And I'm a retired teacher in real life, and I got connected with helping folks in the rookie help chat, and connected with that also is the thing to that side, the image that you have of the magic school bus. I realized when I was on a podcast, I was chatting saying players have trouble getting that first foothold and getting a decent start. They get given empty ships, but no idea how to fit them. So they wind up going kitchen sink, which means, they do double tanking every weapon they can find. So they've got civilian miners and a civilian Gatling gun along next to a missile. And it means that their ship is really, really badly fit. So I said, you can put out on the net or on various sites what a good fit looks like. They don't know enough to even reference those things. So I said, we need something like a welcome wagon that gives them a ship that is actually fit so they can see what a fit ship looks like. And they can try it out and face it. If you've been playing for more than even 6 months, a rookie fit ship is almost petty cash. It might cost a couple of million, but a couple of million to you or I is a hell of a lot less than it is to a guy who's scraping by and doing level 1 missions to get 200,000 ISK. He's got to do 5 missions to get to 1 million. So I said, it'd be nice if somebody just went around, chatted with the players, and gave them a ship. And damn if somebody didn't send ISK to the podcast saying, this is for Mike. Go do it. Because you can't say somebody should do it. What you have to do is say, I will do it. That was 8. Go ahead.
We now have GMs doing like some kind of behavior like this when people are starting the game. Do you think it's coming from you? Well, actually, do you know if it's coming from you?
Yep, the GMs actually asked for permission to call them bus moments because they named it after me, not I named it after them. Because I've been doing this for, well, come the end of September of this year or November, it will be 9 years I've been doing the Magic School Bus steadily. And I was interviewed. I don't know if you know who Minxie was. She was on the CSM. She actually started an all-female pirate crew called the Hellcats, and was a very well-known person in her time. She also was one of the founders of Signal Cartel.
Oh.
So she's been around for quite a while, and she recorded an interview with me for SoundCloud for the Signal Cartel folks. And the key question she asked, and this was 6 years ago, she said, "How long are you going to keep doing this?" And I kind of thought about for a second. I said, "Until I run out of assets." Like, people don't, the problem is people keep donating to the bus, and that forges another link in the chain that ties me to this task. And so I've been going steady because the donors keep donating to the bus and keeping me going. If they ever stop donating, then I'll keep giving away the ships until I run out of what's been donated. I don't give much. What I give is time. And it takes me an hour or two a day. I do 2 runs in a day. And I go to the career systems and say in local, if you are under 30 days and you would like a ship, speak up, dock up, and I'll give you one. If you're over 30 days, speak up, dock up, and I'll give you some BPCs. But I've been doing this steadily, and you'd be surprised how many people ignore local chat.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Well,
true.
actually, to be fair, we do also ignore.
Well, you're
local chat.
wormholers. If you
You're
see anyone
involved.
on local, you hide in your hole, and it's another 6 weeks of winter.
Oh no, we're actually the other kind of wormhole that just look at it and meat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but local is ignored, and so it's, if I have 40 people in local and I get 2 hits, 1 in 20, I figure that was a good stop. But
Yeah, that's true. Like, I'm doing it 07 when I'm in ISEC, LowSec, and NuSec, and most of people don't look at it, don't answer back, or sometimes they arrive and say like, "Oh, you get to our system like 2 hours ago. I just like want to say hi." So yeah, no, not much people looking at the local.
okay, I'm going to go off on a tangent for just a second because it was something that was suggested. And this connects to the CSM in that people come up with ideas, and then it's the CSM job to evaluate it. And being wormholers, I'm going to pitch one to you. Somebody has suggested that local has a phased delay, in that when you enter local, it may take, say, 20 seconds before anything shows on local, and then just an image of the pilot, and then their name, say, a minute afterwards. So if that way you don't get instant intel of a group passing through, you get to see, at first you don't get any news, then you get a bit of news, and the news is just faces. So you won't know it's a fleet of, say, fraternity flying through. You just see a bunch of faces. And unless you know the faces of specific pilots, you'll go, wait, that guy, and that guy have killed me before. They're all frat. Uh-oh. Or, you'd be able to see, for you guys, you'd see, well, you're in wormholes, you don't see anything. But this would be in high sec, low sec, and null sec. And then the speed of the phase in would change depending on which sec you're in.
Mm-hmm.
So high sec having a better, by lore, better communications and better infrastructure, it might be less of a delay on phasing. But then that would make the reason I really like this is it makes your face important again.
If I may interrupt you a second, like people saying that on YouTube they do not hear me. Is that the case?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is that?
Or because on my end there's stuff's broadcasting, so I just want to make sure.
Oh, I'm hearing you on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
We can now.
Okay.
Okay.
They
So
mute you.
yeah, they muted me. It was like nope, not. But
No,
yeah,
no.
like I touched something, might be that. So yeah, thank you.
Are you back on now?
Yes, it should yeah, it should be good now. But yeah,
Yeah.
like I think that I got like something not selected. So yeah, I'll do a voiceover of myself.
I can do it if you want.
Oh yeah, that would be funny.
Grab some helium first. Okay, people, it's time to have the Norcho.
Yeah, well, actually, we got like a software for that when we do Castaldamo. That is one of our silly mascot. So yeah.
Okay, sorry, I went off on a
Yeah,
on
it's
a
all right.
tangent.
It's all right. We're all sorry here.
I do that. But so I've been driving the bus. I do play the game as well.
Oh,
You know,
really?
besides doing the bus, mainly I love running Abyssal Space, the occasional mission, and any events that come along. I fly. You know, I'll do the Christmas event and pop things to fund my own play, so to speak. And I like blowing things up.
So last year we
I
like has been quite calm, right?
Yeah, I haven't done a lot of PvP violence in the last year, which makes me sad because I do like. I occasionally go with Fun Inc. or the various public groups for going out on flights. I have flown with Bombers Bar Spectre Fleet over the years, and I miss that. But it's always a matter of being in the right place at the right time. I do a lot of traveling in the game, like
Yeah.
to hit all the career systems. You know, one in the morning I might be in a Mars space, in the afternoon in Caldari, and I use jump clones to do some of the travel, but also I do a lot of gate to gate travel.
Yeah. Wow, that's impressive. If people want to donate to your organization, like, can they just go to like give money to Mike Azariah?
Yep, I don't, for both the bus and for CSM purposes, I do not belong to a player corp or alliance. I'm in scope,
Yeah.
which is one of the old defaults of Galente. And so either you trust that I'm going to do what I say I do with the money and you send it straight to Mike Azariah, or you don't trust me and you don't.
Yeah, and you've been doing that for like 9 years. Been on the CSM how many times?
I have served 5 terms. I was on 8, 9, 10, 15, and 16.
So yeah, people make their decision if they trust you with their money. Okay.
Gotta stop you there.
Oh.
Gotta stop you there.
Okay.
Because I'm on the CSM is not a reason to trust me. Because I've been doing this 8 years, almost 9 years, and nobody has, found any way that I'm running a scam. My record says you can trust me, but there were players who actually took advantage of the fact they were CSM and ran a Titan scam.
Titan free for all. Rix Javix would be jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they ran a Titan scam based on their CSM title, and the CCP looked into it and said, "Nah, scamming's legal. Somebody who's stupid enough to believe a politician is honest, they deserve to lose their Titan."
Oh, that's great.
I like the
Okay.
answer.
So, what will your campaign this year be focusing on?
Part of my focus for my campaign this year is consistency. I am almost the institutional memory of the CSM, having been in it on and off over the years and a fan of it, following it for even longer. So it's being able to have a connection to the past and know where it's going and seeing long plans. The other one is the consistency of my own behavior. When I'm on the CSM, I do talk to the players. I'm in the forums, I'm on Reddit, I put out video summaries of what's gone on over the last quarter, that sort of thing. I talk to players in local, I'll go to groups. So if I was part of a wormhole town hall, in spite of the fact that I don't know a lot about wormholes, I still showed up. I was, I am a person who maintains communication with the players. And to a certain extent, if you look in the past, there's only a few CSM members who have a strong reputation for talking to everybody. One is not able to run this year, and that's Brisk Grubel.
Yeah, well, he says that he's done. Well, for now.
Yeah, he is great at talking to players, not just his people. And you do have some CSM who will talk to their own specialists in their own corporate alliance, but the public never hears a word from them other than "thank you for electing me," and that's the last you will hear from them.
Yep.
And that is not what I consider a representative, and that's what we're supposed to be, is players representing players to CCP in a couple of ways. We can bring ideas forward from the players as they communicate to us over the year, and we actually act as a sounding board for CCP so that they can say, what do you think of this idea? And we'll say, well, that is a bag of shit and you're about to light it on fire. It's not a good idea, or that's a good idea, but have you thought of these iterations? And sometimes they listen to us and sometimes they do not.
Which
and
brings
when
us
they don't,
to actually like a following up question. Like, once you get elected, you got all those NDAs, which makes you unable to answer question for the people that got you elected. How do you deal with that?
it's tough because sometimes you want to say something and you're going, I have to be cautious until one of CCP devs say, we are going to do this. And then CSM can say, they told us that. We told them it was a dumb idea. They didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're allowed to comment on anything that's public, but what we can't do is say CCP came to us with a super cap, something twice the size of an avatar, and said, we're thinking of bringing this into the game, but you can only play it if you paid us cash.
Or
pay to
boosters
win.
that you can only get
pay
if you pay cash.
What a coincidence.
Yay!
Then I can almost guarantee that CCP, if they showed this to the CSM would have been backpedaling, going, no, this is bad, but this is bad. But the thing is, CCP is not obligated to tell us everything.
Yeah.
And there are times where
it's a focus group. It's not like the board of director.
Right. And also, sometimes in CCP, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And so I do not know for sure. I'm making a guess, not breaking any NDA. I will bet money, though, that the marketing aspect of CCP came up with the idea for this booster, not knowing how gamers would react. They just said, this looks like a keen thing they might like. And it was, there are people in the marketing department who don't know a lot about
the game,
the traditions of EVE. They may have one character that they mine and say, oh yeah, I play the game, and they play a very tiny little corner and have no concept of what the community thinks or what will fly and what won't. So if they have something they think is really cool and we can sell this, they have no idea what kind of hornet's nest they're kicking.
Yeah, indeed. Speaking of NDAs, like they usually last like 5 years. You've been on
5 years
on CSM for more than 5 years. Is there any juicy things that you can now speak about?
Sorry, I'm looking to the side going, I am old school in that I take notes on every meeting. Some of the notes are very kind of like your university notes where the prof is lecturing for far too long and you get down to single word points. But so I have a book that probably in 5 years will be good again. Yeah, there it is. This is my EVE book. It doesn't show, but it's got Rick's EVE Vegas. Yeah, it's got Rick's Javik stickers on it. And I keep all my notes on that. So I don't know where my 5 year ago book was. The funny thing I found was the 8, 9, and 10 had a lot of changes in it. Prior to, let's see, 9, we actually had officers in the CSM. So there was a president of the CSM, a vice president, a secretary, who was in charge of being the person communicating with the public. And the president was the head honcho of the CSM. And then we realized that's a lie. We're all equal voices. And the president was usually chosen by the person who got the most votes. So Mittens was the president of the CSM in one of the terms, in the full term that he served. The second term, he got booted out for the asking somebody to kill themselves. But in the term that he served, he actually was president of the CSM, chairman.
Yeah.
And when the Summer of Rage and Burn Jita, they actually flew Mittens in the middle of a term, not for a summit, but just to have direct meetings with Gilmore. But they only flew 1 or 2 CSMs in to consult with CCP at the time, not the whole group, but that, rank hath its privileges. Then in 9, we said, this is stupid, and decided no. And we made a modification to the charter of the CSM and said there are no officers. We are equals at the table. We all get to have a voice, and there's nobody here who's better than anybody else.
So
ever since then,
there's been a lot of changes in the way that CSM work.
Oh, yes. It used to be they published all of the CSM minutes right after the meetings. So that you could see what CSM 2, 3, you could go back and see transcripts of the meetings. And see things like, there's one where one of the entries is, I have to go poo. I'll be back in a minute. And I'm going,
Sure.
Okay, too much detail. Too much
TMI.
detail. But then they decided, when they started to utilize the CSM more and tell us more things, then it stopped being a public facing function, because CCP is always worried that if they say, we were thinking of doing this, there are a ton of players who will immediately take that as a promise that it is going to be in a release next week. And they will be saying, that's it, Eve is dead, I'm quitting.
Well, Eve is dead, right? Since 03.
Been dying for a long time. Yes, it's dying slower than Pee Wee Herman. That's a Buffy the Vampire Slayer reference. 2 people will get it in the audience, and the rest will go, what the hell is he talking about?
Yeah, I do remember Buffy. I was in the right age, the right audience back in the days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so the more secret it became, the harder it became to know what you could say about the NDA and what you could say. But anytime something goes public, we are allowed to say, we said that was a dumb idea. We can always say what we said. We just can't say what CCP said until they say it publicly. So if you ask me while I'm on the CSM, you had a meeting this week, was it a good one? I can answer that. Are you optimistic or looking forward to that? I can answer that.
But no
what they
specifics.
say, I can't answer that. So it was funny, in CSM 8, had Trevor Dadu, it had Jester, who was a podcaster and blogger of the time, very prolific blogger and commentator, who got elected. And those 2 and I got there, and we were all like a good decade and a half older than the next oldest guy. And so it was like the old man's club, and we'd go down to breakfast in the morning and sit there eating our breakfast, and the young ones would come staggering in, hungover from the night before, and we're going, kids. And it was just funny because Chester did an AMA on Reddit after his NDA went out. So you can, those of you who want to look it up, it's a fun AMA. But he said he felt like he got tested as soon as he got to Iceland, that they were quizzing him on the history of Eve to see if he knew his stuff and what he thought of various things. And the devs were trying to get a handle on whether we should listen to this guy or not. And it was almost, and the funny thing was, if they did that with me, I didn't notice, or they might have looked at me and said, he doesn't know anything anyway, why bother? um,
Well, when
but
you
it
present
was,
yourself for like the new player experience, like they don't expect you to do like all of that.
yeah. And yes, you play for the number of years I have since 2008. I've lost track how many years that is now, but 15, yeah,
14.
coming up on
Yeah.
15 as of this September.
Yeah.
Then you can, either you are very locked in a box or you have done a lot of things over the years. But somebody once joked that Eve is not a game, it's a bunch of games in a trench coat pretending to be a game.
Mm.
And so you find the part of the game that you like and you can enjoy and you can play long term, or you play sections of it and you go, I'm tired of faction war. I think I'm going to go to wormholes. Okay, I've done that for a couple of years. I'm tired of that. I think I want to become an Nullsec FC now, or I want to lead an alliance team. And there are people who find their niche and play it for a few years and then move on to something else. And others find their niche, play it for a few years, and then leave. The funny thing is, CSM is often the last thing people do. If you take a look at the CSMs who have served, a lot of them are gone.
Or
And the
CCP employees.
yeah, the last, yeah, it's either you move up or you move out. There's only a few of us who are fireproof, is what I call it, and Steve Verona can call it, who can serve multiple terms. And then even when we're not serving, we're still here playing the game and doing it. And it wasn't a casket or a funeral announcement for us. So for us, it's just part of the game that we play. But for others, it's, and I can name names that are just, they showed up, they did their term, and it's almost like, I've now seen how the sausages are made. I'm out of here. I'm not eating in this restaurant anymore.
Yeah. If we keep like on like how these CSM work, could you explain like how the voting system actually work, and like because it's not as simple as we got in different countries.
Quite often, a normal election down in the States or even in Canada confuses the US because they don't understand that you don't vote for the prime minister, you vote for the party, and that tells you who the prime minister is. But is called first past the post. Whoever gets the most votes wins. But when you're electing a council, say you're electing 5 people to a municipal council, then it's the top 5 vote getters win. But it's hard to be tactical with that because if you can only vote for one person in that kind of election. So what they went with is an Australian style election called STV, single transferable vote. And you're given a list of all the candidates come election time, and you can pick 10. So there'll be 10 slots you can vote for the CSM, and you just they've made it so you can drag and drop and do it. But you have a chance to vote for 10 people. And the votes are tallied initially, and they'll do the math and say anyone who gets past this threshold is elected, say 3,000 votes. But if nobody gets that, because the votes are all spread out, then they will take the person who got the least number of votes and remove them from the election and all of that person's second choices. So everyone who picked him first, they just cross a line through his name, and now they look at his second choices, and those all spread up through the votes. And then they say, anybody get elected? If they did, then they're removed from the ballot as well. So, and any further votes for them go to the second choice. And if the second choice has been eliminated, goes to the third choice. So it means when you vote, you don't have to worry about if, say I was voting for president and 1 million people voted, he only needed 900,000 to get elected. That means that last 100,000 votes really didn't count because they weren't necessary. So it means those votes were actually wasted. They didn't do anything. And all the votes for other parties, like say you voted for the other side, your vote literally did nothing to the election because your guy lost. In this system, if your guy lost, that your second choice, your third choice, your fourth choice all had an effect on the election.
All
So
your
it means
votes
that,
matters.
yeah, all your choices mattered. And if you only voted for one person, that's the only way to be fairly sure that your vote didn't count for anything,
Yeah.
because either it took effect or not. So it means one of the CCP community guys was actually a poli-sci major, and he helped push this system in. And he did statistics, and in CSM 8, he found that 98% of the votes that were cast had an effect. Like, they affected somebody getting elected.
Wow.
And he said, no first past the post election has that. No normal North American election has that much power, that your votes, your choices, 98% of the time, they made a difference as to who got elected. And so that's why I'm totally in favor. Now, this year, they're bringing a new thing in.
Yay.
And that's that pick and choose. So your votes are going to vote. Pardon me. Slow down, Mike. Sorry, my brain goes faster than my mouth
breathe.
sometimes. This year, you are voting, and you get to vote and elect 10 people. But there's going to be 12 people on the council. CCP has reserved the right to pick the last 2 people for the council from candidates who ran but didn't make it, didn't quite make that the threshold to get elected. And sometimes the threshold, there are people who have lost a seat on the council by about 20 votes. Like, it gets tight at the far end.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, I think CSM 15, I wasn't elected. I was just the last man standing. Like, they kept eliminating the bottom guy, and we got to 10, and I still hadn't achieved the threshold for the votes to get elected. It's just there was nobody else left. And so I got elected by being last man standing, not by being elected, which is kind of a unsettling thing, but it's part of the risk of me not having an alliance, not having a corporation behind me, is I honestly depend on people knowing who I am and voting for me, or just the random luck of, I need 3 more votes, boom, boom, boom. But if CCP this year says, we plan on doing wormholes. That was the example I gave when we were chatting earlier. And a wormhole candidate didn't get elected. Then they can say, okay, but the 15th person, that guy is really a pro at wormholes. We think he's got a lot going for him. We're going to pick him and put him on the council. Yeah. And we'd actually like somebody who's really good at representing to the public, because we want to get more public facing. Oh, look, there's a famous streamer who got 18th position. Boink, we can pick him.
Yeah, exactly. Last year, that was me, 18th position.
Yeah. So you're going to be looking at a possibility of people who didn't get the votes but should have. And there was a great quote from my campaign in CSM 8 that one of the elected people, one of the council said is, Mike is the best guy for the council who's never going to get elected. And that was what they said as a way of recommending me. That was a recommendation, is Mike. And a lot of people said that. If you go back to CSM 8 and look at the forums then, a lot of people say Mike would be a really good guy for the seat. Pity no one will ever vote for him.
Yeah. Well, actually,
and so if
Tuesday
this year
show,
there's somebody like that.
On this Tuesday show, we were making the the joke that this year's CSM pick 2 more candidates was because of me, because last year they wanted to get me on because whatever they think I was good at they needed me, so I can't understand that, but I'm sorry CCP, I do not run this year.
It's not too late to apply.
No, it's just
still apply.
Still they will be pushing people that are actually good for the content of the game, and for wormholes, and I don't want to get in there and divide votes.
that's the thing is, how do you choose who to vote for?
Exactly.
And part of it is in the alliances, often you are given a ballot. This is your ballot. You vote this way. You do this. We've even automatized it. Just click this and log in, and then you voted.
Oh, that much.
And that's the party line, voting the party line, and
Yeah.
you see that with a lot of
Yeah,
organizations.
express
There
your
are
freedom
guys
by
that-
voting the party line.
Yeah, I recommend not just voting for me, although I would really appreciate if people voted for me. But if you don't, vote for the people that you think represent you the best. Now, if you think that's the guy who's running your alliance, excellent, vote for him. But remember that you have 10 seats there, and having 5 people from the same alliance just means you have less diversity, less chance to discuss something. You just have one voice. So you've literally reduced the number of seats by 4 if 5 of your people are in there, because they'll just be speaking with a common tongue. Now, I do want to put a rider on that. People always say that the CSM is run by goons, and then they look at everybody. And believe it or not, I've been accused of being a hidden goon. And I'm going, I've never been flown with them. I've never flown for any of their corps. The only time I was in a nullsec war, I flew against them. But there are conspiracy theorists. But again, we were talking about Brisk earlier, and he's not running this year. He is in Initiative, which was a
No, he's now in Goons.
No, he's
organization.
Goon.
He's Goons
He's
now.
in Goon
Yeah.
He
now.
moved
He is Goons, yeah.
a few weeks back.
Yeah, but he is a goon, but he was not part of their superstructure. He was just a line pilot, and he represented his thoughts, not the party politic, if you know what I
Yep.
mean. So I never thought of him. He was always a good person to elect, and that's what you have to look at. And the people who are sitting through this are probably going to be the ones patient enough to read platforms, to do a bit of research. And that's what I really, really, really recommend. Find the right people. The better the CSM is, the better the advice that CCP gets.
Yeah.
You want people that are reasonable, who can talk in a way that you actually want to listen to them.
So
You know what I mean?
yeah, so like actually, since like well, Brisk is not running this year, and he was like someone that actually looked at all the chats and was like answering people all around that, and that's actually what you're doing. So people that are looking for like someone to vote for, like since like Brisk is not here, you could be like quite a good substitute, right?
Yeah, and well, Briscoe say that even when in past terms, I do representation and talk about the CSM. I've done updates on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. I think if you search Mike Azariah, you'll trip across it. So I actually do YouTube updates where I'll just sit out in my garden or in my den and say, time to tell you what's going on within the limits of the NDA. So I'm not going to suddenly spill the beans. There's a few ways to get kicked off of the CSM, and pilots over the years have found a few of them. One was a woman threw things at the devs while she was in Iceland, a spoon, if I remember right. And that was CSM 1. That's when they were first doing it. There was people who've done insider trading. Believe it or not, CCP actually has a security department that watches us. So if we do any suspicious sudden trades just prior to an announcement, they will come down on you like a bag of hammers, and they have. There's been a person who was forced to resign from the CSM because he went, I just couldn't resist it. He found he could see a change was going to cause a huge shift in the meta for ships, and so he bought 1 billion of those ships and made a boatload of ISK, but using insider information. What else?
Well, actually, this like this team, do they still exist? Because sometimes we see stuff and we're like,
Yeah, in mathematics, there's a logic thing that says, just because they happen at the same time doesn't mean it's cause and effect.
Yeah, it's not because it happens
And
at the same time with the three big blocks, like 1 week before an
yeah,
announcement, that it's like not color related. I do understand the math, yeah.
yeah, but the TTT thing was the most recent one. The fall of that and people getting their stuff out a little early, and you're going, that looks a little sketchy to me. I don't know. Technically, they have to prove it. And the funny thing was, somebody accused Brisk.
Yeah.
Man, if he was running, this would be a great campaign video for him. But accused him of insider information, and they booted him. The CCP took the accuser's word for it, booted him off the CSM, and then found out that it'd been just somebody doing the equivalent of swatting him.
The what?
Calling the cops. Do you know what swatting is?
Well, like a SWAT team?
That's calling a SWAT team.
Okay.
It's something that people do to streamers down in the States, where they'll say there's a guy with a gun holding hostages,
Okay,
and all of a
that's
sudden
that.
in the middle of your stream, well, they just made a false accusation to Brisk that actually got him booted off of the CSM, and he said legally you can't do this because they attached his real name to it in some of the articles, and he's a lawyer, and if he gets accused of breaking an NDA, he can lose his law license, his license to practice law. So he said, this is serious, and of all the people who understands how serious it is, do you think I would do that, knowing that it is a risk that goes far beyond getting booted out of a game? And CCP did deeper investigation and went, oops, sorry, we kind of jumped the gun on that. Yes, you did.
Yeah,
So
I
like
mean, like people from Eve are always see conspiracy everywhere. That's the game.
yeah,
Yeah, that's one of the fun of the game.
Yeah.
it's one of the funny things that I have is when I'm doing the bus, people, even new players who just started the game yesterday, are paranoid that I'm some sort of scam or trap that they haven't read about yet. Because it looks too good to be true. This guy's going to give me a ship. Sure he is. He's going to blow me up. I said, I'm asking you to dock. That's the safest place in the system. If I wanted you to blow up, I'd say stay in space. I'll come meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah, with my
But
bowhead.
and one person got really ticked off because I said, take a second, Google me. Ask ChatGPT who I am. It'll say nice things about me. And and they said, oh, sure, now you're playing the do you know who I am card. And I'm going, oh, God, I'm not going to convince you. Fine, stay out there. You don't get a ship. I'm okay. It's not like I have a quota of ships I have to give away.
Exactly.
Like
we got like a Johnny Pugh saying like, put the ship down and take 5 steps back.
yeah.
Well, actually,
I miss Johnny Pugh.
Concerning like that operation, like what do you take from it? Is it only like the dopamine of helping someone, or like what's your intake? Like what do you take it from? Like what do you take from it?
The funny thing is, to a certain extent, yeah, but it's also, I do enjoy helping people, and while I'm doing it, I live in rookie help chat. So I'm helping people there at the same time and connecting to them. But to a certain extent, rookie help chat is my corp. So sometimes you log on to your corp and you just shoot the bull for a few hours. You might not blow up anything or do anything major. You're just visiting with friends. And so this is one of my major social interactions. I'm an old guy. For a lot of COVID, I was undergoing chemotherapy. So great time to be immunity compromised is during a pandemic, by the way. Highly recommend it. So this was my connection to the outside world. Now I'm getting out a lot more now, but still, these are my friends and these are the people I chat with on a regular basis. So if you're going, that's a dopamine hit? Yes, these are the people I play with, and I recruit new people to a game that I really, really like by going around and helping. The example I used, and being Canadian, you'll get this, hockey rinks.
Yeah.
At the junior leagues, quite often there's the old guys who help take care of keep the ice up and fix the nets and set them out. Quite often they don't get paid, or they get a team jacket at the end of the year and
I
a
just want the
thank you
kids to be able to play.
that. I'm the
That
old
and
guy
talk
for
to
fixing
people.
the ice.
Yeah. Oh.
And occasionally somebody will give me a team jacket, or I get somebody will buy me a beer at Fan Fest. But other than that, is what I am doing. Is I'm the old guy who may not play the game as much as he used to, but he's still there helping the others find the game, play the game, learn the game.
We got Rizio Taifu on the YouTube chat that is bringing a good point. Is Rookie Help chat still as let's say unique and and toxic at some point as it used to be, or is there been improvement on that side?
We've gotten a lot of new ISDs over the past year or two. So it's not always ISD inhabited, but they're fairly often, and they do enforce the channel rules, which personally I think they're more lenient than I would be. Long ago, in just after the This Is Eve video, they gave me mod privileges in the Rookie Help Chat channel for one day, and then they found out why they shouldn't. I don't give 3 strikes. I tell you what you're doing is wrong. If you do it again, I mute you for half an hour. And, I don't give, no, you're still doing it wrong. No, that's you doing it again. It's like, you fucked up and you did it again. Goodbye. Oof.
I really like it because I see the let's say your teacher background. It's
Exactly, yeah.
so visible the way that you're acting. It's wonderful. I really like that.
But ISD occasionally tries to recruit me because I live in Rookie Help Chat. You would think that it would be an obvious side thing for me to do, being the old gaffer fixing the ice. But the thing is, you cannot serve on the CSM and be an ISD. It's actually written in the rules. And so they offered me an CCP offered me an ISD seat, all the way to asking me what I would like for my ISD name. And then that's when CSM 15 election started. And I said, well, let's see if I win.
Oh.
If I win, I won't be able to serve. And so winning CSM 15 was what stopped me from being an ISD.
So if you don't get elected and we see a new ISD, we might actually connect dots.
They purposely try to keep the ISD who's behind the ISD name a secret, because they do play the game. And so the other thing is, I am such a sloppy typist that probably people would recognize my typing skill as, oh, I know who this ISD is. He can't spell poor to save his life. Or he just took 3 tries to spell revenant.
Or he don't know how to say a boot. Yeah. Oh, that is great. Well, actually, time is running, and we got one last question for you.
Fire away.
Why should beavers vote for you?
Well, beavers specifically because I am Canadian. I live in BC, the other side of the country from these 2 lovely people, but just the same, it's still the same country. More specifically, for the listeners who are outside of Canada and not blessed with the birthright that we have, I'm sorry.
Eh?
You lost. There was a birth lottery. We won. You lost.
Yep.
Okay? Anyways, what campaign promises aren't worth the paper they're written on, and I'm not writing it down, so that's worth even less. But I do have a reputation for being one of the people who talks to the players before, during, and after election. So if you want a representative who'll listen to you, sometimes I'll tell you your idea is stupid, and then I'll listen to your argument. But I reserve the right to not take something to CCP if you ask, I would like a cloaky ship that can shoot weapons at the same time. No. You want to be a ninja and do stealth kills, that would unbalance the game. And even a Care Bear like myself knows that is a bad idea. I'd like high sec to be removed. I've had people say that many times to me as a CSM, and I'm going, no, you just want more chances to kill newbies. That will end the game. No, I'm not taking it to CCP. Find another CSM to represent you. This is the kind of thing, but if you have a reasonable idea, and the one thing that is CCP is on record of saying is my fault, is the bowhead. The bowhead was proposed as a shipping ship. Mainly the incursion community came up with it, but a lot of people wanted an ability to move a bunch of fitted ships. And I got involved in the thread in the forums and said, this is a cool idea. And we batted it back and forth. And then I went to a summit and cornered devs off hours, not during the summit, but in a pub afterwards. And what I finally found, the key is not to have a good argument. It's also to know the right person to have the argument with. You know, you got to find the dev who will actually champion your cause or will design the thing. And I found the right guy. And we sat down, I bought him a beer. It wasn't a bribe, it was my round. And we sat there and he said, it can't have weapons. And I said, of course not. It's a shipping ship. It's a container ship. You know, he says, or drones. I said, okay. He said, it's going to be a target. Oh yeah, we know that. You know, and he says, maximum I can go is 3 battleships. I said, that's perfect. The incursion people will love you. Because that means you can move from one.
This ship, like the bowhead, is really great now because you can like now fit like haulers with a lot different kinds of like munitions and all kind of stuff that you can put into them that are now accepted as let's say like things that you can get into a ship. So you can get the bowhead with haulers into it and do wonders with it. And not only that, he's as big as a freighter. Well, it's a freighter. But you can actually do the micro warp drive trick with it, which make it quite
which
faster.
I do a lot of.
Oh yeah, it's like
Trust
the
me,
cloak trick without a cloak, so it's wonderful.
Yeah, so CCP has gone. Fozzie went on record saying this ship is Mike's fault, because it wasn't anything the rest of CSM even cared about. It was just a personal project that I like this, and I kept pushing for it until I got that ship in. So that ship in the game is evidence that A, I can make a decent argument, and B, the CSM occasionally does get to do something.
Yeah, well, actually, I do have. I'd like to thank you for that. Because
we're gonna end it pretty there, because
yes.
We have an interview
it's
with
26. Yeah, I know you've got another interview to do.
Yes,
So,
guys,
any
I
last
would
words?
really like to thank you. I would really like to thank you for giving me a shot to come on. Anytime you want somebody, even after the election, if I'm elected or not elected, if you want me on, just give me a buzz and I'll show up. If you want to ask about the CSM or halfway through, so break NDA. No.
No.
Get your book from 5 years ago. Let's have a talk.
I really got to look for that. If I find some cool stuff, I'll let you know.
Great.
But,
so yes, you're now one of our beavers in the show. So you're welcome to come on in anytime you wish for. So we're really happy to have a new Canuck on the call for all those kinds of subjects. We really do appreciate how that you share with us, and I hope that our beavers got a lot of great informations from you today, and that they're gonna vote for you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good rest of interview. I'm going to go have breakfast.
Yeah.
So have a good breakfast. I just want to say something. With you, I feel we're gonna always have the truth without anything embellishing it. So yeah, I really appreciate that. So thanks a lot for the conversation, and see you soon.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
So beavers, in a few minutes we'll be back. Stay on.